Hello, my friends. Very happy to see you here today. Thank you so much for joining. This will be our Neigong Inner Strength Development class. So in social media, many books in English now, people use this term Neigong. And I think actually all these Chinese terms make a lot of confusion for Westerners. For example, I think that our basic Western education, it's based around logic, reason, and we view things from a mechanistic view, a view of duality, this and that. And this is a Western mind. The older Eastern mind, the Taoist mind, this is a holistic view. It is not a mechanistic view of pieces and parts, this and that. And so as Westerners, when we study these Taoist arts and practices, and also Chinese language is a foreign language, we, at least from my observation, many Western teachers really apply this mechanistic view to the Taoist arts and studies. So for example, Qigong is different from Nei Gong, or Nei Gong equals this exact meaning. And when I learned in China with my teachers, these are Chinese, mainland Chinese teachers. They do not view things like that at all. Okay, but really there are different practices. Okay, and what you practice will give you different results. Okay, and Neigong, one understanding of this term, and this is referring to a kind of strengthening practice, a practice that will develop structural strength or strength within the skeletal system or strengthening of the organ systems. But the basis of these kind of Neigong exercises is the same as Daoyin, Qigong, Neidan. It means internal alchemy, All of these have some basic same theory, which is, for example, we try to unify the mind and the breath in the Dantian center. This is a very common concept. Now, and if we also look at these internal martial arts of Tai Chi, Xing Yi, Bakwa, they grew out of the inner alchemy tradition. The Taoist inner alchemy tradition gave birth to those arts. So they took concepts or theories or even some practice methods and they mixed them as these arts were developing. And we really need to stretch our mind, our imagination within these arts to have a wider view. We don't want to have a narrow view of these arts. There's not only one way. And any of these Chinese terms, Qigong, Daoyin, Nei Gong, Neidan, all of these Chinese terms, even Dantian, there's not one meaning for these things. Okay, it's a relativity. And so always don't get into extreme ideas about any of these practices. Don't practice to an extreme. And we should never think our way is the best way or our way is the only way. That's a very, very limited view. And if we do find ourselves thinking like that, we need to take a step back and say, I have not studied very much. I don't have a wide enough experience, because if you have more wide experience, you understand that all of this is very, very relative. Okay. And even my own learning is very relative. I can only present what I've learned to you. I have practiced all of these methods for a long time. So for example, these exercises, these Neigong body training methods I'm sharing in this class, I learned these, I think I was 18 or 19 years old was my age when I learned these, okay? And so I've practiced very intensively at that time. I was training with one teacher, but I kept these practices and I practiced them off and on throughout my life. I'm approaching over 50 years now on the planet. So that's a long period of time. And so really, because I've sifted through these different methods over time, a lot of things I threw away that I found these methods didn't produce results, or these methods were not really valuable. But some of the methods that I learned that were very authentic, or methods that can yield certain results, I developed and nurtured and kept. So now really, when I teach, I can teach from a systematic point of view because I've gone through a period of time practicing these methods and seen what type of results they can gain. But later, as we refine these movements, as we get more sophisticated with these movements, we want to combine our breath work and the way that we're breathing in with these movements. So there's a combination of the body, mind, and the breath. Okay, and so you can't do that in the beginning. You can't really change or transform the way you're breathing within these movements because you can't quite do the movements yet. So be aware of that, but also do be aware of your breath and be sure you're not holding your breath, okay? So it doesn't matter when you inhale or when you exhale, just try to breathe deeply and smoothly as you can, and don't hold the breath or have a very rough or forceful use of the breath in these movements. Okay, so today we'll do a little bit of the single palm change in a standing position as a warm up your shoulders and spinal cord. I introduced the 3 roots. This is a grounding and leg development exercise, kind of like a squatting. Okay, let's just bring your hands together, thumbs touching. Now, this is we call Wuji stance. Okay, when we put our feet together, this will be horse stance. And this is we call forward stance or archery stance. Okay. And now we talked last class about the distancing in the horse stance. Okay. And so this is, we can have I usually am very flexible, so a little wide. You can even have, this would be 1, 2, 3 fists. Okay, so that would be like a 3-fist horse stance. But really traditional people, they go like this and just almost 1 or 1.5. Okay. And so just in the beginning, you wanna be familiar. Later you'll kind of, you can know by feeling. You become very used to these stances. But in the beginning, when check your distancing, make sure you're not too narrow. The other thing is we're using this we call the qua, this inner hip area, which is really descends down into this inner musculature. These are your yin muscles. These are your yang muscles. We have an opening here. And so it spirals out. So see my knees go out. We never, ever, ever let the knees go past your front toe line. Okay, so see here, my knees, this will damage your knee joints over time. So I can't check you right now. You're gonna have to check yourself and be aware of where your knees are, okay? So let's begin. We'll do our single palm change as a warm up. Deeply relax, feel your feet connecting to the earth. Tuck your tailbone, stretch your spine up. The crown of the head suspended from above by a string. Breathing in and out through the nose. Deeply relax. Let's inhale, gather your hands. And you can exhale. Okay, so moving from your waist. Come back, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, and so this is movement from your waist. So later you'll really gain an ability to differentiate your hip and waist. Okay, and so see here, I move my hip back, but I move my waist this way. Okay, and so here I'm not moving, these hip bones are not moving so much, but I'm twisting my waist to rotate my body to either side. Okay, and so like before, okay, this spiraling motion, the 4 powers: rising, spiral, overturn, and fall. Okay, let's warm this up real quick together. And this is the same movement we're doing in this palm change, but we're doing it vertically rather than horizontally. So here, this is horizontal. Rotate down, spiral, rotate down, spiral, rotate down, spiral, rotate down, spiral. Okay, now here we go vertically, spiral, rotate, and twist. Now this hand is right near the elbow, so fingers are pointed in towards the elbow. Come back, spiral, and rotate. Back, spiral, and rotate. Back, spiral, and rotate. Breathing naturally. Now my knees are not locked, okay? So this would be rigid, locked knees. My knees are bent and lively. My whole body is very lively. Okay, so we can think dead and lively. Okay, and so just if I have no mindfulness or awareness of this lower part of my body and I lock my knees and then I'm kind of like going like this, so then this is my bottom becomes dead. Okay, and so this is the big challenge, and this is a lot of these movements. What we're doing here in the beginning is we're unifying the bottom part of the body with the upper part of the body. Okay, and this is very sophisticated and takes a long time of repetitive training to do this. So this is also one of the benefits of this single palm change here. I'm keeping this liveliness. See, this bottom part of my body is very alive, has movement, has awareness. Bottom of my feet are rooted into the ground, and I rotate like this. Okay, come up and turn, and back and up and turn. Up and turn. Up and turn. Okay, and so our mind is unified with our movement and body. So when I turn here, I look at the tip of my index finger. Okay, now this also is a part of the knowledge of energy development, qi development in the body, and that this is where our lung meridians have branches into the thumb and the index finger here. Okay, and so see, as I come up here, there's a lot of this stretching an opening of both my index finger and my thumb. And this opens the lung meridian. So here I slightly bend my knees as I gather. And then this rising of this hand is coordinated. I have a pressure and more of an internal pushing, which comes up from the bottom of the feet. And I'm using power. This is not like a weak. I'm drilling. I'm power. The martial application would be, this is like a punch. This is like someone punches, and I intercept their fist here. And then as I intercept or contact this fist here, I'm gonna rotate and turn this fist out. So maybe in a martial art application, as I turn this out, this hand could strike, or I could come under their armpit here and I could throw them. And so this is from martial art tradition, but we're practicing as a mind-body exercise. But there is this expansive strength that takes place from this elongation of the joints, the fascia tissues, and the tendons. Okay, and so see that I'm opening my body out. Okay, even here, this is I'm all of this is dynamically opening and turning a circular shape. Okay, and so then if you were to push on me, we can't do that through the computer. Boom. We can't do that. But if you were to push on me in person, there's a very expansive. It's like a balloon. If you have like a beach ball, you can, even a big beach ball, you can jump on it. Because the beach ball has this expansive quality, it just repels you off. Okay, and so in Tai Chi, this is called a Pung. This means a expansive force. Okay, and this in the Xingyi, this is called the bear energy, or the single circle power. Okay, and this is like a spherical, like a ball. When we say single circle, this means a sphere, three-dimensional shape. And so if you see here, see how this is circular here? Even here is circular. Here is a circular. This hand is a circular. So this is all this training, this single circle shape. And so it's really like you have an expansive ball. Over time, as we train these circular shapes more and more, and we relax with body-mind harmony, what happens is within these shapes that we're creating, chi energy forms. It's like to drink tea, we have to have a spherical tea cup. This has some shape. This shape can house the tea. And this is the same thing in this kind of shape training, these arts. We're training shapes here, and over time, the energy will gather into these shapes, and we feel a very unique kind of strength and a unique type of power which develops. Okay, and so as I was taught, this is one meaning of this word Neigong. Okay, this is an inner power that we develop, an inner strength. Okay, this is also stretching and loosening. This is going to lubricate your spine, open up your lower back. But again, these are from martial art tradition. It's very small movements, sometimes very sophisticated. Okay, so we're spiraling up, rotating and turning. And we come back, we spiral up, we rotate and turn. Okay, good. Come back to center. We're going to do one more warm up today. And then after this one, we'll progress into the 3 roots rooting exercise for leg and lower back connectivity and strength. This next exercise, my teacher never really gave a name. This is just grasping, okay, grasping exercise for opening up the intercostal space, okay? And so, and also this is going to train your grip, train your tendons, strengthen your wrist, okay? This also, because it's a movement we're pulling towards our dantian, this will naturally, energies will gather, refilling the dantian system, also strengthens your kidney and these types of things. And so let's begin with your left, okay? Just open your hand, place right on your hip crease. We're gonna slightly bend the knee, okay, and come in a horizontal fashion. This is similar in our 8 Immortals 12 harmony form. We have the same kind of movement. Then as we come up, we'll make a fist and we'll push. See, I'm stretching back. So this is gonna stretch my shoulder, my elbow, my wrist, stretch my tendons, strengthen my wrist. I'm gripping, begin from your small finger, grip all the way down to the fist, and push your ribs a little forward like this, see? This. Okay, so see me from the side, it looks like this exercise. Let's change side. And so I'm really gripping and really like pushing my fist back and see bending here. Okay, and so when you can do that and I'm doing that not with contraction, this is expansion. It really stretches, okay? Now we're gonna go alternate either side, and then we're gonna bring a more complicated motion into play. And we're gonna do both hands at the same time. Now we're just learning slowly in this class, and over time we'll really combine all of these movements into a workout. But right now you're learning, so we're just go really slow. Take your time, and you guys can enjoy at your own pace. Okay, now let's combine. So I'm bending down and then coming up. So creating this liveliness and this connectivity between my lower and upper part of my body. Breathe deeply and naturally. Warming up your joints, loosening your lower back through movement. Now let's do it together. Now let's separate again. Okay, inhale up. Exhale, calming. Okay, good. Let's take a few steps out. Okay, if you need to check, make sure you have a wide enough stance here. Okay, so our horse stance. Okay, I've used this this Neigong, the 3 roots Neigong, in some of our other classes. So maybe you've seen this before, but this is really classical. So we're gonna try to teach a little more detail of this, and we'll use this as a training tool. Okay, and so this is a common theory in Neigong, this idea of rooting, that the bottom part of the body is yin, upper part of the body is yang. So the bottom needs to root into the earth. And we have a very strong and stable base. And we have a connectivity with the earth, specifically from the bottom of the feet. But this is not just the imagination. We have to really do some physical alignment work to really have proper rooting. Rooting will also take place when the whole foot contacts the earth. So for most people, they don't have a mindfulness and awareness of the body. So maybe they'll come back on the heel or come forward into the ball of the foot. Okay. And so this is when we're able to have this opening of this inner hip, the qua. And from the qua, we can spiral and descend down through the yin musculature. And so this is like a screwing that takes place. We tuck the sacral bone, elongate the spine, and then we feel some deep connectivity or rooting from the bottom of the feet. And so the 3 roots is an idea of this teaching of the Trinity. For example, we've talked about our energy. We have Jing Qi Shen. Okay, and so root, middle, and in. So this is our shoulder, our intercostal space here, and the hip. Okay, and so this is like a root, middle, and the in, 1, 2, and 3. But this can also reverse. This can be root, middle, and in. And so we're going to go through this exercise, being aware of moving each of these parts of the body in combination. So for example, when I begin, I'm going to push down, and I begin pushing from the shoulder, then I push down my intercostals, and then I push down in the hip, and then I really, from the hip, drive down into the feet. Okay, and then at that point, I descend my body down. And I'm pushing with my palms also here. Okay, now then when I come up, I'm going to come up from the bottom of the feet. I slowly come up through the hip, through the rib, and into the shoulders, and I lift like this. Then I'm going to make a fist, and then I begin again. Shoulder, intercostals, and hip. And I really squeeze, and I drive down with my fist. Then I lift up. Feet, hip, intercostal, shoulder. So we're going to be very natural, but flowing and moving through these exercises like that. Shoulder, intercostals, hip, intercostal, shoulders, intercostal hip, okay? This is the meaning of the 3 roots. We can think this hip root is also related to our physical dantian. This hip root also is linked with the feet. So this is really, we can think like a kind of triangle. The feet, this hip, dantian, okay? Even a relationship to the sacral. All of this will over time become unified and interconnected, and we use these areas together. And that's one of the understandings of a Neigong training. It's an exercise you repeat. You repeat this again, 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 again. And by repeating it again and again, there's certain very specific kinetic qualities, kinetic motions, skills. We could think skill, habits that you put into the body. Okay, and so right now we're putting in a habit, okay, into this progression. Really, it's like a wave. We go from the top to the bottom, and from the bottom back to the top. Okay. Okay. And so then, because this is a martial art, these kind of things we can these kind of kinetic waves of force. We can channel, for example, into a punch, or we can channel force into areas of the body because we're having combat, or we're competing with another person's force. But as I said, we're doing these exercises for health development. This is really wonderful, this type of abilities, if we develop these for health. Okay, maybe your legs will become sore. That's okay in building leg strength. Okay, so pushing, relaxing up, pushing down. See, so I reversed here. Now I'm pushing fist on the inside and open hand on the outside. You can open hand both sides. You can do fist both sides. Okay, so the few different variations. Doesn't matter. Okay. So here I'm going to push, and I do fist on the outside. Push, fist on the outside. Okay, good. So that's our 3 roots, and that's a really good, you can use that as a warm-up. It is a type of body conditioning and strengthening exercise. So depending your leg development, you might get a sore muscles from that. So moderation, and slowly build up your endurance, build up your strength. Be careful your knee joints. You don't need to go extremely deep. And again, learn to be aware of your knee joint's position. You want to align your knee joint above the center of your foot. You don't want the knee joint to push out over your toe line. That will cause damage and pain over time. Okay, let's cool our body down. This is a swallow animal Qigong. So we have 12 animals in this Xingyi system. Some of the animals we have kind of Qigong that we'll learn. So this is our swallow. Okay, so this is a wrapping power. Okay, I'm pushing down and up, rotating my waist, liveliness in the legs in a horse stance. Okay, so I'm alternating my weight, letting my whole body move. Just breathe really deeply. And this feels like you're scooping and pressing back into your dantian. So we're just preparing to gather our energies and store our energies back to the dantian after we did our practice today. Wrapping powers. Really concentrate your dantian. Breathe deeply to your dantian. And this is circular motion, up and down, wrapping, closing, and gathering. Me from the side here, I'm come in to my dantian. See? This also helps circulate naturally your microcosmic orbit. So sometimes these Neigong Qigong exercises are very simple, but they're simple because they're refined. It means they're highly intelligent, highly sophisticated in their design. And the design developed over many generations. So then when we get something, it seems simple. If you repeat it, you get a lot of benefit. Okay, now we'll continue our swallow Qigong. Inhale, and we'll exhale, stretch out. Okay, slightly shift your weight and concentrate this palm. And I keep concentrating this palm. And then I'll shift my concentration to the other palm. So we're balancing out our right and left sides and using our breath and mind to let the energy flow between either palm. So I emphasize this palm here. My peripheral vision kind of looks down. Come back, embrace yin yang, palms together. And then I shift to the other side. Okay. So these are our cool down exercises just to get centered. Breathe deeply. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Okay. Now come back to center. Draw both your feet together. Let's big breath. Inhale, spiral your body, twist. Exhale, sink to your dantian. And this is our closing form. My teacher in almost all of these different Qigong or Neigong, Daoyin, we do this closing form like this. Some teachers do like this to gather. My my Xingyi teacher, which we're learning this system now, he would teach very spiraling, twisting, dragon-like motion. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Okay, good. Very good. Okay. Oh, let's finish class today. Okay, good. Very good. So we had a good class today, and this is a kind of a Neigong training from the Internal Martial Arts. It takes many years. It's very sophisticated, and I think most, at least from what I see in the public, not many people really train or teach in this way. So I think this kind of sophisticated and slow refinement learning like this will maybe kind of become lost. So I think our people are really busy now. They do so many different things, and they're really living, you know, on Facebook and social media and all this type of thing. And when I, for example, when I learned this, I was very young, but I was a seeker. I was seeking these kind of practices, and my friend, he met this teacher in Hawaii who he had inherited this system from a teacher Gong. And my friend said, "Oh yeah, I have to meet this guy. He's amazing." He was not so interested in really teaching, but I was young, and there was another young boy who was interested, and so he said, "Okay, I'll teach you guys." So at that time, I didn't work much, and I just living in Hawaii is a very slow place. I just practiced all the time. And that, you know, to be honest, that looking back, it was, I didn't have a girlfriend. I was not married. And it was a really, really simple life. And I lived in a valley in Hawaii, not by the ocean. I lived up kind of in the hills. They have, you know, old volcanoes and small kind of hillside bamboo forests in Hawaii. And so I lived up in a valley, and I could go in, you know, different parks, or there was a schoolyard, and I used to go in the early morning before they had school. And there were like kind of these scenic hills, and just practice these things again and again. And I think I had a natural attraction to Qigong, to Taoism, and from a very young age, very deep heart connection. So now I understand this is my life path. This has been this really crazy life journey I've had, acquiring with, you know, all these different practices from different teachers. But it's just even now, you know, I could do this for 3 hours. I hope this wasn't too long for you. But I really, after all these years, I still just enjoy them. I think I'll be an old 80-year-old guy. Dragon turn head. Maybe no hair, little beard. I think this is my part of my life destiny, but all of this fits together, and this is all from the inner alchemy school of Taoism. And this, now I see that clearly. All of these arts is talking about yin and yang, dantian, 5 elements, and all of these things are also principles of nature. They're natural principles. And this is you look, this is sophisticated movement. It's also very upright. We're standing very naturally. It's not like some kind of contortionist yogas from India, like this, some very awkward and very, contorting our body in strange ways. It's something very natural, and understanding that there's some natural powers or natural strengths that nature manifests. The tree has a root, for example, and the tree also has some expansive strength or this quality, for example, the tree. Or water is a spiraling and twisting, a wave has a spiral. And so, fire is goes boom, when fire is this some opening principle. So all of these elemental qualities are, we talk about this idea of energy or power, but these are in the nature, okay? And they're something natural. And this is the amazing beauty for me of this. These are embodied physical Taoist practices that we're learning, whether it's a Neigong from martial art, or we're doing some Dalian like a golden lotus or 8 immortals, these Dalian forms. It's all the same, actually. It's all something the same. And for me, after, many decades, many decades I've put into exploring these arts, practicing, embodying them into my being, they're all the same, okay? And this is my Xini teacher, and I had a few other Taoist teachers in China. They all told me this same teaching that I'm going to share with you is embody the one. Return to the one, embody the one. Unify the one. Practice the one. Okay, this is a reoccurring theme that I had many teachers. They really drilled this concept into me. I'm going to try to share this with you. Okay, and so all of these arts are doing something the same. So, for example, if you can do Dragon Turns Head really correctly, you can really feel these 4 powers, and you can empty your mind. You do it enough to where there's no thought. You can just do it, and you can melt into your body, melt into your heart and mind, melt into your breath. All of these elements unite. They come together into this harmony. It's a wonderful liberation takes place, but there's a naturalness that is born, and it's a kind of enlightenment. And then any of these movements you can do effortlessly, and it's a wonderful freedom. And so then this can get into a problem, because now, even me, I teach many different exercises or forms. And so students, you get into materialism of learning forms and exercises, and you don't develop any internal ability. You don't develop any Nei Gong, you don't develop any Qigong, you don't have any unification of body, breath, and mind. And this is what we're after. This is a unification. And so this is we teach different exercises, and this is some intelligence of body, okay? And you're developing an intelligent body and a Taoist body. This is a Taoist training. We develop this sophisticated use of our body, because Taoists say our body is a representation of the universe. If we really know our body, we'll also know the universal truth, universal principle. This is a Taoist idea. But also the Dragon Turns Head or Searching for the Moon, if you can do that properly, then you can do all of these other movements properly. And so then that also takes time. You cannot do that in 1 class or 2 classes or 3 classes. And so that's also in this Neigong video offering to you guys, my members, my family, my tribe, my friends, that we're just doing kind of 1 class a month right now. Maybe I'll start to do 2. but just to take some time to assimilate these teachings and these movements and repeat them. And any of these, if, for example, if you like to do the 12 harmonies or 8 immortals form, you can do some of these as a warm-up. These are holistically work together. These are not something different, okay? But these require a little more strength. There's a more like a leg training, for example, or there's more repetition. So, you know, this is from a martial art tradition. So they have this idea to strengthen your body system, strengthen the joints, strengthen the connective tissues, change your tendon network, change and stretch the fascia networks. Repeat these movements so it massages your organs, and so the organs become tonified and strong. Okay, so these are all parts of this kind of training, and that can be difficult or it takes time. And so in the old days, you know, people didn't have TVs or movies, or people lived in very small village units, so they had this in you know, farming, and this time was slower, and so people could, you know, before working in the farm or after, you know, people could do, you know, 1 hour of dragon turns head or something. And then they would develop a lot of Neigong power, a lot of strength. And now we're doing, you know, so many different things and so many different kinds of busyness and all these phone apps and all of these things, living on Instagram and Facebook. Then we don't really spend time to practice with these. So this takes time, but you'll develop a really wonderful vital health if you learn some of these things that I'm teaching you. I promise you that. And you'll also develop a natural unification of the body, mind, and breath. These things are born. You'll develop some internal strengths. Okay, enough talking. Thank you so much for joining today. Really happy to see you here, and I'll see you again in the next class. Take care, be well, and I hope that this teaching brings some benefit to your inner peace, to your serenity of heart, and to the health of your body, and developing also your spirit, your spiritual nature. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next class.